Hey, good morning. This is Waymatea Ellis from the blog Making Way. This is a journal documentary blog tracking my progress from being the lead singer for Soldier Fire into a solo project of my own. And today I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on planning. I know I do a lot of different things and hold a lot of different balls in the air at any given time, and many of you do that too. And so I want to elaborate on how I go about planning my life and give you some examples of how that might look. Because if you're looking to do a solo project as a musician, or if you are embarking on a new career, or if you are going back to school, or if you're a parent, and all the things that we are, that we do require some sort of planning methods, and I just want to offer mine up. So mine actually comes from the RPM planning method from Anthony Robbins. And before I share that, I want to share why I use that. Many of you know that I'm a big fan of Ellis Armstrong, who is the mother and creator of UnderstandMen.com and 25 years of work studying men and women in relationship. And I love her. I love so much about what she offers, just because it is an offering of peace into the world so that we can stop being such adversaries in this world and come together. Whether or not we identify as male or female or anything else that we might identify as, we all carry certain tendencies towards certain ways of thinking or being. And I really relate to Alison Armstrong's definition of the feminine brain, and that is because she defines it in a way that takes away the shame of not being focused. I am not a focused person naturally. If I get on task and if I can turn off the rest of the world, then I can be productive. But generally, I move from thing to thing. Like I move from one room to the other, pick up something, put it down, see that I forgot something from that other room, or put in a load of laundry and then go and take something out of the fridge and then go out and shovel the walk and then come back in and return an email. That is how I am. And that type of way of being can be criticized in a world that values production and focus, but that's okay. I just use some tools that help me to focus because, we have to get some things done. So I'm going to share how I do that every day. I've been using the Tony Robbins RPM planning method for years. I usually have his big binder and all of the refills, but currently I'm just using loose leaf paper to do my RPM planning. But what that does is it helps me to focus in on one thing at a time. So like in any given day, I will have different categories that I am trying to get things done in. For example, every morning I wake up and I want to do something to start my day off well for me. So I have a category called Radiant Way, and the highest purpose of my category is so that I can be glowing or in spirit or whatever I say that day, like in love or of service, or just usually it's just love, let's be honest. And then under that category, I will put like meditate, and then get up and read my letter to the universe, and then pray and do yoga. And I may or may not do all of the things that are under that category, but I certainly do at least two, if not 3 or 4. And if I do that every day, which I do that every day, I feel good. And I do end up glowing, and I do end up being in spirit, and I do end up being able to be more in service and more loving. So that just gives you the general idea of how this planning method works. And I learned a new thing today. It's only 6:45 in the morning, and I learned how to use the Keynote app on my Mac. So I'm pretty proud of myself. I hope that you'll forgive the rudimentary look of my presentation, but I'm going to show you just how I go about planning, just basic things. So for example, this blog is Making Way. So in the big circle, I'll put Making Way, the blog. And then to the right of the big circle, which is my theme, I will put my highest purpose for making the blog. So today I might put expression, tomorrow I might put spreading love, the next day I might be like to be in spirit or to be in communion with spirit is what music is for me. Whatever my highest purpose, I put it to the right of the theme. And I do that because as I go through the mundane list that will make up the theme for that day, I remember that Why? Why am I doing that? Well, because I want to be in spirit. Well, because I want to express myself. I want to be, in love with life, or whatever the things are that I might choose for that day. So then underneath on the left side of my big theme, I will put the things that need to be done. Record the video, upload it on the social networks, follow through on people that have been talking to you about playing at their venues, whatever. Just the things that need to be done, that's my to-do list on the left. And then I put a great big line around the whole thing. And there it is. It's something that I can focus on, and I can cross one thing off at a time, rather than having all the things that I have to do on one great big list that also includes go to get the groceries, pick up the pictures from the kids' session, take the kids to skating. Like, those things don't belong in the category of making way. Those things belong in other categories. So this helps me, a person who has diffuse awareness, according to Ellis and Armstrong, to stay focused. So I'll just add one more just to show you what that could look like. So heavenly home, I want my home to feel heavenly. Why? What's my highest purpose? Is to have a safe haven for my family to come home to, and for them to feel at home in, and for me to feel like I can get away from the world. And then to the left of that, I'll put all the things, like the laundry or the dishes or do the floors. And you'll notice that to the left of all of the things on the to-do list, there are numbers for rank in terms of which ones have to get done and in what order. And the star next to the number is those have to get done today, which sometimes they don't, but that's okay. They just go on tomorrow's list. And then you'll see the duration. So what the estimation of the duration is of the things. So how this helps me is in the morning when I've got I'll make a list of everything that's going through my brain that I have to get done. And then once I start to categorize them, I can see that this isn't necessarily a 12 or 14 hour day. This is more like an 8-hour day. And it helps me to prioritize and see, okay, where I could maybe delegate something to someone or put a list that could be tomorrow or next week. And let's be honest, at the end of every day, when there are some that are unchecked, I'll just look at them and think, is this an emergency or can I go to sleep? And they're always not an emergency. Even when people will make me feel, or all of us feel, in the way that our culture has turned into this sort of sense of urgency all the time around everything type of thing, I really put my foot down. If someone's sending me a text at 11:30 at night, I will choose. If I feel like responding, I will, but I can also just say, this is not an emergency, this can wait. And so that happens a lot, and yeah, you'll have to maybe put down your foot where you think you should, but oftentimes my family, if they're needing me, I will choose them at the end of the day over things that people find are urgent. And using this method, I can see what's urgent for me and what's important for me, and then I take care of what needs to be taken care of in my circle. My first priority is my small little circle called my children and family and home. And animals, I don't know where she is today. Usually she comes and visits, but anyway. So thank you for listening to my planning method. That was an example of diffuse awareness. That's a good example. That is not, squirrel. It is how my brain works. I'm always scanning. I'm always wondering what's going on in the meadow, where the flowers are, where the birdies are, where the predators might be. So that's there. I just showed you. So thank you for watching, and be safe and well, and we will see you next week on Making Way. One love.